Alright, what's going on, guys? So we got our first official Call of Duty Vanguard reveal today. They had a whole event on Warzone. They dropped a 3-minute trailer. Obviously, it's the first reveal, so it's just campaign, cinematics, no multiplayer, or anything like that. But it's good to just get an idea of what the game is going to look like. Visually, it looks very similar to your standard World War II game, but we're not here to discuss graphics or anything like that. They did reveal some very important details about the game, so I'm just going to go down the list and give you some thoughts on each one. So first of all, release date is November 5th. Pretty standard, that's fine. There's going to be an alpha and a beta. I don't believe they announced the specific dates yet, but the alpha should be coming up pretty soon. The beta most likely sometime next month. I believe it is going to be an open beta, but pre-orders and PlayStation is going to get it first as usual. So that's kind of your general info. We did actually get some gameplay information. So number one, it's going to be on the Modern Warfare engine, which is fine. I like the Modern Warfare engine. It feels smooth and everything. I think it's better for Call of Duty for multiplayer and Warzone to be on the same engine. It just makes sense. In probably the biggest news of all, though, they did say that they are finally going to have an anti-cheat system. They didn't really give too many details about it, but at the very least, they have finally listened and they are doing something. I'm guessing this whole time they were probably working on one. It probably would have been better for them to say 6 months ago, hey guys, we hear you, we're working on something, it's going to take a while, but trust us, you know what I mean, we're handling it. That would have been, much better than to wait a year before announcing that they finally have one. I don't know who makes the decisions over there for them. Anyways, it's pretty clear that they're focusing heavily on Warzone because they even announced a new Warzone map that's going to be coming. I don't know what they mean by new Warzone map. Is the entire map going to be brand new, or are they just going to change a couple places or whatever? Hopefully it's a completely brand new map. I think that would be very cool. I don't mind them focusing so much on Warzone. Obviously, Warzone, I think at this point is more popular than multiplayer. I mean, just because it's free, number one. I think if Call of Duty really wants to, do something special, they would make multiplayer free. Would they ever do that? Probably not. I don't have the numbers, but I think free to play and then you make your money from microtransactions in-game is just the way to make the most money. I don't have the stats to back that up. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but personally, I think that's the way to go. Regardless, like I said, I don't have a problem with them focusing on Warzone, but I hope that means that they're not going to ignore multiplayer or put less focus on multiplayer. I don't think that's the case because there was actually some pretty positive good news about multiplayer that should give us a little bit of hope. So apparently there's going to be 16 6v6 maps at launch. Not 16 total maps. They're claiming 20 total maps and 16 of them are going to be made for 6v6. So that's pretty big news, right? Because the last few years we've been getting 8 to 10 6v6 maps at launch, not very much. So 16 is pretty much double of what we've been getting. 16 is what they used to give us way back in the day. That's great news. Now, how many of those maps are going to be good? Who knows? Maybe 0, maybe 10, maybe 5. Hopefully at least a few, right? I feel like that's been one of COD's biggest weaknesses the last few years. They just don't make maps as good as they used to. And I kind of think that's on purpose, right? I mean, they kind of admitted it in Modern Warfare. They said, oh, we designed these maps with safe spaces in mind or whatever for people to hide in. That was one of the fucking stupidest things I've ever heard someone say. So I think there's a reason that the maps aren't as good as they used to be, and that's by design. We have to remember this is the skill-based matchmaking participation trophy era of COD, so some of these decisions kind of don't make sense unless you think about it in that aspect. But anyways, probably the last piece of important multiplayer information, Gunsmith is back. I think an even more advanced version of it. I saw a leaked screenshot of a gun that had 10 attachments on it. I don't know if that was real or not. I think Gunsmith is probably going to be a staple in COD now, mainly because of Warzone. You guys have to realize that Warzone is now influencing some of the decisions that are made for multiplayer, which, like I said, that's understandable, and I'm even okay with that, as long as that doesn't mean that multiplayer is just going to be more and more shit because they're ignoring it or whatever. But let's wrap this up with a few final thoughts that I'd like to get out there. You guys can let me know what you think, but if you remember back to World War II, which I think is the obvious comparison for this game, right? Because same developer, same time period, like it's obvious that these two games are going to get compared very closely. So I wouldn't say that World War II was like hated, but I don't really think it was that well liked either. Honestly, I think it was kind of like a boring game that no one really cared about that much. Also, it doesn't help that Fortnite pretty much came out around that time and became popular, and the whole world decided to start playing Fortnite, so no one really cared about World War II at that point. But if we think about World War II, like what were the main issues with the game? I think the number one issue was the stupid division system that they made. Like, hopefully they don't bring that back. I don't think anyone liked it, or very few people liked it. Most people complained about it, so I don't think they would be dumb enough to bring that back. But apart from that, I think the other main issues were the maps weren't very good, and the kill streaks were just straight up bad. And the maps, I mean, they weren't terrible. They weren't as bad as like Modern Warfare maps, but I don't think they were really very good either. I mean, London Docks was good. That was one of the few good maps on that game, but overall, like, nothing impressive about the maps. But there is one very important thing that we have to remember about World War II, right? If you guys remember, I think about, I don't know how many months, maybe like 4 or 5 months into the game, Michael Condrey, who was the lead developer, he left Sledgehammer, right? I don't know what he's doing nowadays, but we all remember Michael Condrey, right? That guy left, and immediately after he left, they did like a huge revamp update of the game, and it was a completely different game, way better than it was at launch. And I think if World War II had launched the way that it was after that like mid-game update, I think it would probably been a pretty well-liked game, at least like way different than what it's thought of now. Like, I'm not saying it's going to be the most popular game ever or anything, but I think people would have enjoyed it a lot more. So I think that guy single-handedly was ruining that game. So now that he's gone, that's probably a positive sign. I don't want to hype it up too much, but that does give a little bit of hope that this game will be more like the second half of World War II than the first half. So I'm not trying to overhype the game or anything like that. I'm just saying there are some positive signs that we're seeing so far, but obviously we don't have very much information at all. We haven't even seen any actual gameplay yet. So that's pretty much it for the video. We'll see how it looks whenever that drops. It should be dropping pretty soon, you know what I mean? It's information season now, right? So the next like 1 to 2 months, we're going to be getting a lot more trailers, a lot more information about the game, so there'll be, you know, plenty more time to analyze stuff. But for now, that's kind of my basic thoughts on what we know. You guys let me know your thoughts in the comments section down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to leave a like rating if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you are not already. Follow me on Twitter. Links in the description down below. Check out my last video if you missed it. It was about how Pokimane decided to give hope to all the tier 3 subs out there. So, you know, they were going crazy for that one. But yeah, once again, thank you guys so much for watching. Have a good day and peace out.